Hey everyone, it's Carly Hall, and in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to transform this bag of chips into this spooky Halloween favor treat bag. So all you need for this tutorial are the chips that you want to wrap, some copy paper. Optionally, you can have a crimper so that you can crimp the top and the bottom, and then your device that you're printing from and your home printer. So no cutting machine is required for this project, and I will teach you how to wrap the bag to add some pizzazz. These are great for favor gifts. My mom actually did this for my baby shower. They would be great for parties or events to give everything a custom, seamless look. All right, let's get started. If you're new to my channel, you may not know that I used to work at Silhouette, and before I worked at Silhouette, Silhouette Studio was the first design program that I really dove into and taught myself how to use. So before I used Illustrator, Silhouette Studio is where it all started. It's a great powerhouse software and it's free to use. So if you want the link or you want to download it, that will be in my video description. Again, it's free to use. You do not need a Silhouette to use it, and I'll show you how to upload your design to this program. So for the size chip bag that I'm using, we need to print our design on legal size paper. So over on the right-hand side, there is this page setup panel. So you'll navigate over there and click on that to open it up. The media size is the number 3 option here, and it automatically starts at 12 by 12. So we want to adjust that to be legal sized. So you can scroll through and find the size paper that you have, or if you don't see it, you can click on the custom option and adjust your size. So I want 14 inches by 8.5 inches tall. And I do not want to constrain my media to the cutting mat since I will be using the full width of the paper. So now that we are set up, we are going to drag our image in. So I purchased this image from Creative Fabrica, and I'll link it in the video description. I'm just going to drag it onto my paper. And the size that it comes in is for those smaller snack size chip bags, which would be great for this as well, but I just didn't have any on hand, so I decided to experiment and see if we could fit one of these larger size bags. So I'm going to resize my image. Up at the top, I want it to take advantage of all my material, so I'm going to do 14, and then I want 8.5. So it will skew it a little bit. You can see that it's stretched, but that's okay because it still looks good to me. And then at the top, we're going to click center to the page so that it centers all nicely onto our page. If you're using an 8.5 by 11 sheet, you can choose your media size and then resize it to fit 8.5 by 11, and it will actually line up perfectly on each side so that it overlaps and looks really nice. But for this one, the back won't overlap perfectly, but it still looks really good. So now we're ready to print it. So we're going to choose File and then Print. And our preview, if it looks off, it will print off. So we want to change that before we print. So at the bottom, we're going to choose Settings. And you'll want to choose the printer that you're using. So I'm using a Canon printer, and I will link it in the video description. It's worked great for all my printing needs over the years. And then you'll choose your paper size. If you are using the smaller bags, you'll want to print US letter borderless, and that will give you no margins on the sides. Legal doesn't have that option, unfortunately, and you can see that they add some margins to the top, bottom, left, and right. I tried to create a custom setting without any margins, but for whatever reason, it would not let me override those settings. So unfortunately, we will have some margins on our legal size paper, but it looked fine, and we'll just trim off the one side. We want to make sure that we have it set to landscape, and then when we click OK, now we'll get a true preview of what it looks like. And those white borders along the edge are what I was talking about with those margins. Since the white at the top looks fine, it's not a big deal, but it's just something to consider that when using these larger bags, you will have the white borders along the edge. All right, so now we're going to click Print. Make sure you're choosing the printer that you want. We'll feed from the rear tray since that's where my paper is loaded. I have plain paper loaded, but my printer prints best when I choose the photo option, and then normal is fine for this paper. And if you want to scoot it up to best, that works too. And then you'll click Print and print out your design. So here is what my print looks like on the legal size paper. You can see it matched that preview perfectly where it has those white borders. And I also wanted to show you the 8.5 by 11 borderless option. So if you have those smaller chip bags, this will be a great option for you to wrap those smaller chips. So something to note with this printer is the borderless settings only work for that 8.5 by 11 and not for the legal size. But like I said, it's not a big deal, and I'll show you how it looks. So to start, we are just going to trim off the side that I want on the top. So I want the Made with Love on the top when I glue it or tape it shut. So I'm just going to trim down the side. So I have my paper pushed up against the top of my trimmer, and I'm just going to trim off the edge. You can use scissors to trim that off, but I like my paper trimmer, so I'm going to use that. The next step is we will use our tape runner, and we're going to apply double-sided adhesive all the way to the edges of our print. Once your adhesive is all on there, we're going to place our bag in the center. So it looks like I have about 4 inches on each side of the bag. So it looks pretty good. And then I'm going to wrap one side over and press it down. And you'll want to do the side that you didn't trim off the white from. And then you'll wrap the next side over. And at this point, you just want to line up the bottom of the bag. And I went a little bit far here, but you just want to try not to cover up any of the design. Okay, so I have the top and the bottom open still. And that is just kind of all pressed. And I just kind of swish up the bag to make sure it fits in there. And then I'm going to close in the center first. And then push my way out to the edges. So kind of just pulling out the edge and pinching so that I don't get too many wrinkles. And then we'll do the same thing for the top where we pinch the center and line that up. And then pull out the edges so that those sit nicely together. So from the top view, I just kind of pull the side out with my finger so then I can close it in and get a nice good seal. Since this is decorative, you don't have to worry about it being airtight because the bag of chips is sealed inside. So if you wanted your project to be done at this point, it would be perfect and you are all done. You don't need to seal it. I think that this design is great because it kind of gives it the sealed look with the white. And that's why I didn't worry about cutting off the margins up at the top because I feel like it looks like a chip bag. So you could be done at this point, or to give it a little extra interest, you can use this crimper. Now the proper way to use this is to open it and then put your project in, but I've never had good luck putting it in that way, so I keep mine closed. And then I put my project in at the top and I just wheel the side in until I start to feel a little too tight and might start to crunch the chips. So I just roll it back and forth a couple of times and that will crimp the top. So it just gives it a little extra interest. I'm not even sure if you can see that on camera, but it just crimps it a little bit, and you can do the top and the bottom, or just the top or just the bottom, whatever you want. So I'm going to do the bottom so you can see that again. So I'm just going to put it in to the crimper and wheel it down. The bottom's a little tighter since the chips are down there, so I'm just going to crimp it a little bit. And that will roll the edge. So you can see that the legal size paper fits this project really well. I tried to do it with the regular paper, and you can see that when you wrap this larger size bag. But the regular 8.5 by 11 paper just will not be long enough. So you do need the legal size if you want to do the larger size snack bags. Or you can get the smaller chips and use the letter size paper. All right, so a couple of last thoughts. Especially for Halloween, I do think it's important to keep the original packaging on the product underneath the wrapper so that when people are going through their trick-or-treat bags, you can easily see all of the ingredients and nutritional facts, especially with all the allergies that people have these days. So I do recommend keeping the original sealed packaging underneath the wraps, and that will prevent your paper from getting any type of grease or anything on it. You don't have to use these to wrap chips. You could wrap other things or create little favor bags. And these wraps are great to customize as well. So if you wanted to put your child's face on these or use them for a classroom party or something like that, that would be a great idea too. I will put the links to all the products I used in today's craft in the video description. So if you're looking for any of the products, those will be there. And as a reminder, most of those links are affiliate links. So by shopping through those links and purchasing through those links, I may earn a small commission at no cost to you. And that's what directly supports this channel. So thank you in advance for shopping through those links. If you have any questions about this video or other crafting questions in general, make sure to leave a comment below. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like it and consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video.